Wife let her sister move in with us without my permission. So, I moved out and filed for divorce. When Andre and I got married 3 years ago, I knew she had a lot of responsibility on her shoulders. It didn't matter to me. I didn't expect to be involved in her family matters. Looks like now I am. You see, she grew up in a tight family setting with her mom and her younger sister, Jenny. Their dad abandoned them with no child support. Just gone. Andrea, being 6 years elder to Jenny, picked up the slack. She raised Jenny while mom hustled. Working 2 jobs, stretching every dollar, and raising 2 daughters. When I met Andrea at work, I saw the same intensity. Driven, organized, composed. She was a kind of woman who didn't flinch at pressure. She handled things. We clicked fast. I also grew up in a family situation similar to that of a single mother. My parents split when we were kids. Though my father provided the child support, it wasn't enough. I, being the elder one of the 3 siblings, took up the responsibility, supported my mother financially and also at home raising my siblings. So I understood the burden Andrea was carrying. Same values, same grind. We dated 3 years, then got married in a small ceremony. Just close friends, our family, and yes, Jenny standing next to Andrea like a second shadow. Back then, I liked Jenny. She was cheerful, loud, but fun. The kind of person who could charm a table without even meaning to. She flirted with everyone harmlessly. Always on. At the wedding, she gave a toast that was more about Andrea than us. But I didn't mind. It was sister stuff. They were close. I got it. But liking someone in small doesn't mean you want to live with them. When Jenny decided to move to the city for modeling gigs, Andrea was excited. She asked if Jenny could crash with us for a few days, just until she finds a place. I said, sure. That's what family does for each other. She was happy that Jenny was finally taking her shot, stepping out on her own. And yeah, I thought it was brave, too. But brave doesn't mean prepared. She had no source of income, no place lined up, no car, and not even a clear plan. Just a bag, a few printouts of her portfolio, and that restless energy of someone who thinks things will magically work out. I asked her, what's the plan? Do you have contacts? How are we going to break into the industry? She giggled and said, do you see the engagement on my reels? People follow me madly. If I don't go live for a day, they flood my DM. Who wouldn't want me? I have the body, the face, the attitude. Soon, I'll start getting the calls. You'll see. I laughed at her answer and said, sure, good luck. Her success or failure wasn't my problem. I wasn't bothered until she was at my place. A week passed, but she was still here. Moreover, I didn't see moving her butt. The sisters were too giddy to catch up after years that Jenny forgot that she was here to earn a living. I came back from work to find them curled on the couch with lots of snacks and gossiping about random relatives and friends. I joined them initially. It was fun. I even suggested Jenny look for a place nearby so they could easily catch up. When it was almost a week, I asked Jenny if she had any luck scouting a place, but she dodged the question and said something else. Andrea immediately chimed in saying she's searching for one. The same conversation is repeated every few days, and now it's been over a month, and every time I ask about this, I get the same response. There's no direct answer, no transparency about her plan. I've tried being patient. I didn't want to make Andrea feel like she had to choose, but I'm tired. Tired of my routines getting hijacked, Jenny leaving half her clothes in the bathroom, her late-night calls in the hallway, and mostly tired of Andrea acting like I am the problem. I was being a jerk and not supporting my sister-in-law. She says Jenny is looking, but she's not able to find the one that meets her requirements and also fits her budget. I understand girls are choosy and they have to be. They have to ensure it's safe. So, I was patiently, restlessly waiting for the day she leaves. But last week, Andrea started dropping hints really softly if we could just let Jenny stay with us until she gets on her feet. I lost it. I said I was holding my breath until she leaves, and now you're telling me I have to let her stay here indefinitely. She defended that it was not forever, only until she gets a job and can rent a decent place. I laughed. It would only happen in her dreams. I told her clearly that I don't want to share my space with her sister, so better they start looking out immediately. Andrea nodded, not convincingly, but in a way that fine, whatever. Since then, they both have been acting strange. They are keeping it to themselves and not involving me. And then he talks. Jenny is making a disgusted face as if I had committed a crime by claiming my house back. She had been making passive-aggressive comments, calling me mean and stingy. I confronted Andrea about it and she asked me to ignore it. She's a kid. Be a bigger person. She'll be gone in a few days. It was actually kiddish and petty of her to act that way. I let it pass. Of late, Jenny has befriended one of my coworkers through social media and has been flirting with him. He's a nasty guy, always looking out for reasons to pull down others. Jenny has told him that I was not letting her stay at my place despite she being jobless. Basically, she projected herself as the victim and me as some sort of monster who was kicking her out in a snowy night. I didn't know these stories were brewing until the whole bay was gossiping about it. I was fuming. I barged into the house. Andrea was in the kitchen. Jenny was lounging on the couch, scrolling her phone with the TV playing in the background. I walked up to Andrea and said, "We need to talk." She didn't even look up. "If it's about dinner, it'll be ready in 20. I clarified. "It's not about dinner. It's about her." That got her attention. She set the knife down and leaned on the counter. "Okay, what now?" I gritted my teeth and said, "She needs to be out." Jenny jumped in. "Hello, I'm right here. Where are your manners?" I turned to her and replied, "You should be the last person preaching manners. You went behind my back. Talk trash about me. Why the hell would you do such a thing?" She wasn't surprised at being caught. She acted cool as if she had planned this. She just shrugged off and said, "Well, I didn't start. He asked me why I was looking for a place when my brother-in-law had a spare room and can have me over." I was speechless. I looked at Andrea, who was equally surprised. She asked Jenny what was going on. At first, she tried to cover it up, defending herself that she didn't say anything. Later, when I demanded she show the chats, she confessed that she did say something which was out of line. She said she was angry that I wasn't supportive and wanted to get back at me, hence exaggerated the whole story and twisted it against me. I was on the verge of throwing her out of the house when Andrea requested me to calm down and begged me to give her a few more days. I put my foot down and said, "No way. I want this woman out of my house right now." Andrea started crying that Jenny might end up on the streets if I throw her out. She begged me to give her a chance and she would take the responsibility of moving her out within a week. I said, 1 week and no more. During this conversation, Jenny was sitting quietly, unbothered, as if she wasn't the reason for this mess. This happened in the evening just a few hours ago, and I'm still fuming. I don't know what else to do. I don't know if I did the right thing by letting her stay for another week. Maybe I should have taken more time to process this and decide. I don't know. What do you guys think? Update 1. I feel so stupid right now. The night I posted, I was unable to sleep. I went out to grab some fresh air. I overheard Jenny speaking to her mother over the call, saying, "I don't know why she's so scared to tell him the truth. She has again borrowed a week's time from me. God knows what she'd tell him next." I freaked out. I mean, what the hell was the truth? I immediately went back to the room and confronted Andrea. She was fast asleep and insisted we discuss it later, but I was enraged and demanded an explanation right away. She tried to dodge the situation again. This time I didn't back off. I straight went to Jenny's room and knocked. Andrea tried to stop me, but I was unstoppable. When Jenny opened the door and I saw how she has transformed my guest room into hers, I understood the game. I demanded to know the truth she was talking over the phone. Initially, they both tried to gaslight that I was sneaking into her room and invading her privacy and stuff, but I didn't fall into this trap. I demanded an explanation. Ultimately, Jenny snapped at Andrea. "Tell him the truth. How long are you going to hide this? My heart sank. Andrea lowered her gaze and meekly whispered, actually, Jenny is going to stay with us. I was like, until? Nothing. Just silence. I pestered for an answer. She requested we discuss this in private. I said, no, there's no privacy left in our marriage. Whatever happens happens here. Andrea spoke up and it was bone-chilling. So, it wasn't Jenny who packed her bags and came to the city for modeling career. It was Andrea who had planned all of this. Or rather their mom was pulling the strings. She had instructed Andrea to take her in and being her elder sister should support Jenny by all means until she's on her feet. Andrea knew I would resist it. Hence, she planned to let Jenny settle in our house bit by bit. I cannot explain how I felt that day. I yelled and cursed. I usually don't have anger issues, but this was so dang infuriating. I felt betrayed. With all these things going on, Jenny intervened. Maybe I should leave. I'm not here to wreck your marriage. Even then, Andrea wasn't ready to let her go. She held her hands, looked at me with cold eyes, and said, she's my sister, and she's going to stay here whether you like it or not. This is my house, too, and I should have say. I wished to knock some rationale into her head, but logic had left her brain long back. So, I didn't bother to fight back. I said, okay, you decided for yourself, and now I will decide for mine. I came back to my room and locked it from the inside. After a few minutes, Andrea knocked and demanded we have a mature conversation like adults. I didn't answer. She tried to justify herself that she was just trying to look out for her sister. She can't leave her alone. Family is everything for her and yada yada yada. I dozed off. The next day, when I went to work, my team were already updated about what had happened in my house last night. Jenny had updated Toby, the jerk I mentioned about in my original post, about everything. What shocked me even more that Jenny and Toby are dating now and Andrea knows about it. One of my work friends even pulled pictures from Toby's Instagram where he was hanging out with Jenny. And guess who else? Andrea. My blood boiled. I felt I don't know this woman. Sister befriended my toxic coworker to get back at me and she had been supporting her. Not only that, she has been tagging along and enjoying shots with them. I was so done with this woman. I requested my friend print out these pictures for me. I went home in the evening and when she arrived I threw these pictures on her face. I didn't demand an explanation. Not interested in that. Doesn't make sense anymore. She was stammering something. Couldn't tell you because you hate him. You would get mad. I said, don't bother for an explanation. Doesn't matter. The water levels breached and now it's time for action. I pulled out my suitcase and started packing. She tried to stop me and defend herself. I turned deaf ear to her talks, packed everything I needed, and shifted with my work friend at his condo. It's over a week now and the fog has started to settle. When all these happened, I didn't know what I wanted. Everything happened so fast. But now I have the clarity. I can't stay with a woman who could betray me so easily, who would choose others over me and wouldn't blink twice before lying to me. She had been texting me every day asking for a talk. Today, I responded that I would be filing for a divorce. She had a meltdown after that, but my phone with voicemails. She's begging me to forgive her, but her sister is still living in her house. It took me a while to come to this conclusion, but now I'm certain what I want. We'll update what happened next. Update 2. The divorce news obviously didn't go down well with Andrea. She tried every means to talk to me and convince me otherwise. Even her mother called me to talk me out of this. She preached me about the importance of family in our lives and that I shouldn't take any impulsive decisions. I politely told her to stay out of the matter. She didn't budge off. She repeatedly called me until I'd had to tell her, don't force me to say something I would regret. Let's respect each other's boundaries and you stay away from me. Andrea tried to contact me and clear the misunderstandings. I said I have all the clarity I needed. It's never been this clear ever. She's claiming that I was being too harsh on her. People get away with cheating and I was divorcing her over something so trivial. She doesn't realize what she did to me was no less than effing another man. She has effed up big time. I have already filed. Our state has a stupid law that we have to wait for 60 days before we can call it quits. As we are nearing the end of that waiting period, our lawyer arranged for a meeting to discuss the divorce terms. It would be better if our terms were aligned. It would smoothen the process. We met and I kept it transactional. We barely had any assets together except for the joint account. It was decided we could split it up. In the meeting, I was expecting Andrea to have a meltdown, but she held herself strongly. Didn't say a word extra. To my surprise, she demanded a huge alimony, which my lawyer kind of laughed off because the number that she was quoting was dramatic and it happens only in movies. In real life, the magistrate evaluates the situation, the earning potential of both partners before even talking about alimony. She earns decent. We don't have children. Why the hell should I pay her a penny? She said divorce was my decision, so I should pay her the money to compensate for her heartbreak. My lawyer said we shall discuss it in court. We'll make the detailed post about the divorce once it's over. For now, this is the update. And yes, I left my job, finished my notice period. For the time being, I'm working with my brother on setting up his business. I wanted to get rid of that toxic workplace and breathe. After the fallout with Andrea, Toby had made my life miserable at work, spreading all sorts of lies and gossips about me, and Jenny fueling the situation with her lies. The office felt like a trap. My lawyer indicated this to be a strategic move beneficial for my divorce, as I'm officially unemployed, so alimony is out of the question. If the stars are in my favor, I may end up getting one. Update 3. Okay, first of all, let me clarify. I didn't ask for any alimony. Neither did I get one. I got a lot of heat for saying that I might end up getting alimony because I was jobless. Guys, it's not that easy to scrape out money from a woman, even if you are destitute. Anyways, this update is about something else. Yes, I'm divorced now, but things are pretty ugly for Andrea. Apparently, her family has turned her backs on her. Soon after I moved out of the house, Andrea couldn't afford the rent all alone. It wasn't just about the rent, but also the utilities, food bills, etc. Jenny was a parasite, sucking onto her blood. But Andrea didn't realize it sooner. She used her savings to cover her monthly expenses, but continued to support Jenny, who didn't have an ounce of seriousness and respect for her sister. She was busy effing Toby. After a few months, when Andrea could no longer hold the fort, she requested Jenny to take up some part-time job and at least pay for the food and utilities. Jenny refused to do so and was still living under the bubble that one day she would be discovered by some music album company or some fashion designer and she would get a big launch. That day never came. Not until today. Andrea tried to involve her mom to speak to Jenny, but she too forced her to support Jenny. Finally, Andrea had enough. She too moved out of that house and let Jenny deal with her life because getting rid of Jenny was next to impossible. She's a leech. Andrea hoped Jenny would learn her lesson and become responsible. Guess what happened? Jenny moved in with Toby and he is taking care of her expenses while Andrea is drowned in debt. She has nearly emptied her savings in order to support her entitled sister and also on the legal battle. It was due to her stupidity that the case was stretched for months. She was demanding an exorbitant alimony and it took months before getting rejected. Apparently, her mother was forcing her to not let me go off the hook so easily, and she blindly followed her mother's advice without using her brain and lost her money. To put her finances back on track, Andrea has moved in with her friend, who is a single mother. Her condition has come to this, that she's earning some extra bucks by babysitting her friend's infant. This is what happens when you let others pull the strings of your life. She followed her mother's wishes about letting Jenny move in with us without my permission, and now she's paying the price for it. She emailed me a long apology the other day lamenting about destroying our marriage. She said she regrets putting her mother and sister over me. She asked if there's the slightest hope for reconciliation. She's ready to pay the price to get back together. I didn't respond to her because there's nothing she can say or do to earn my trust. She betrayed me big time. Not only did she let her sister encroach on my space, but she also enabled her to make my life miserable. Her sister was passing all the information about our family matters to Toby, who was using it against me at work. Andrea knew about everything and did nothing. She didn't even tell me. On top of that, she parted with them with my enemy. How do I trust that woman? Never.